Okay, and good afternoon, everybody. This is Marlon Jackson, your host of Spittin' Sports. Along with me, always, my great co-host is Gary Hughes and Mark King. And today we have a special guest with Dump Truck Don, inviting himself to come and chop it up with us and talk about some sports topics that were on our mind today, and probably on you guys' mind, and just to kind of get a feel for everybody's different ideas. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So the topics that we have for today are: who would line up under center for the Commanders next year, and is Von Miller's presence not being in the locker room going to affect how the Buffalo Bills playoffs turn out? So let's jump right into it. I'll go ahead and let Hughes go ahead and discuss that Commanders topic, since that was the one he kind of wanted to harp on.
Yes, sir. Dump Truck Don, how you doing, man?
What's up, man?
Good to have you on. And
Yeah.
also, Mr. King. I'm gonna just jump into it, like you said, Marlon. And I already know how other people feel, but I gotta be with the minor people and tell you that um, Sam Howell is my guy. He is the guy that should be under center. He has done nothing wrong, with the exception of the last 7 weeks. His play went down. But I'm going to put this on Eric Bieniemy, and of course the horrible Ron Rivera, uh, the horrible ownership, not the ownership now, but the previous ownership of 30 some years. And Sam Howell is just in a bad spot. At kind of like the right time at the wrong time. I mean, for 7 weeks, I forget the 7 weeks. I know Don knows where he led the league in touchdowns. He was tied with the great Josh Allen, and I want to say is Dak Prescott, where he threw about 14 touchdowns in 7 weeks with one interception during that time period. He also led the league in yards, and passing yards. My critics will say, well, he had all these attempts. It does To me, it doesn't matter. He had no running game. He had no defense. He really had no O line, but he still was able to lead not the NFC, but the NFL in passing. I think that says a lot. Um, he's in a sense, as Mr. King would say, he's a rookie. What do rookies do? They make mistakes. They have moments where they are not playing well. And as I said, no running game. We were 30th. The Commanders were 30th in attempts to run the football. 30th. We didn't have a running back that ran for 100 yards the whole year. And we all know what a average to very good running game would do to help not just a young quarterback, but any quarterback. Now let's go to the people that we have. Caleb Williams. He likes to go to his dogs and cry with his mommy when he loses. So Chicago will probably get him. Drake May, who to me is Sam Allen, he just a couple inches taller. Why would you draft Drake May? I'm a little open to Daniels, but to me that's RG3-4. So to me, you have a rookie with an NFL experience. Why would you dump him? I don't see anybody in that draft that's actually going to be better than him today. All right, so that's who I am with Sam Howell. I think
I
he should be
think
center.
I think Hughes, you asked the right question. What do you expect out of a rookie quarterback? Well, how about C.J. Stroud? What does that look like as a rookie? Doesn't play 18 games. So if we're gonna talk about rookies, and essentially I consider Sam Howell a rookie. If we're gonna talk about rookies and throwing the football, how about CJ only had 5 interceptions? If we're gonna talk about rookies. Now, if we're gonna talk about 7 games leading the league and all these empty calorie stats that you want to throw out there, because what was their record at the 7 games? So if you down 31-7, yeah, you might have a lot of 4 yards with everybody playing defense. I don't know if that's what's happening, but I do know they play 17 games. They don't play 7.
King, CJ Stroud has a great defense, pretty good defense, right?
Yes.
Pretty good offensive coordinator, right?
He actually used to be an offensive coordinator. He used to work for the Redskins, I believe.
Yep.
Right. So you just
Shanahan free.
you left that out.
Okay, but and you left out the Eric Bieniemy got Super Bowl rings, and I believe that's plural. I think he got 2.
Yeah, with Patrick Mahomes, the greatest quarterback in the NFL. Michael Down is the greatest quarterback ever.
Okay, yeah, he might, and Sam Howell might too, right? I mean, anything might happen. I mean, if we talk about what might happen, I mean,
if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk, right?
okay. Well, let's talk about the facts. Let's don't talk about the ifs and all that. Brandon Sheriff, offensive guard. When you drafted him, your coach was like, "Oh, we drafted a guard." Okay, you drafted a guard who went right down to Jacksonville and started. And Jacksonville has a nice little running game. Quarterback might be suspect, but that's a good little offensive line. Morgan Moses, doesn't he start for the Ravens?
Yeah.
I think the Ravens have the best running game in the league.
Because of Morgan Moses. Because of Morgan Moses. So that's basically part of that.
That's half of your offensive line right there. So when you say
don't forget Trent Williams.
That's your fault.
Didn't he go to the 49ers?
Don't forget Trent Williams. Yeah,
I wasn't gonna do that to Hugh because he always.
No, man, you got to give it all, man. You got to give it all. You got to have a 7-time Pro Bowler, and then you got an all Pro guard. And people were complaining about, well, you shouldn't pay a guard so much money, so you ain't want to pay him. He went to Jacksonville. You had an all Pro guard. You had a several-time Pro Bowl left tackle and another guy who's really good at tackle. So you got your offensive line has been decimated because Ron thinks he can pull in a few guys out of nowhere like Trey Turners and stuff and put them in it and everything will just be all right. And don't draft no offensive linemen except for like what when they traded away Trent Williams, they got a 3rd-round pick for him. In turn, they picked Sadiq Charles. We've been waiting on Sadiq Charles for like 3-4 years now.
It might happen, though. It might happen.
It might happen. I don't deal with potential. I need production.
I don't deal with what ifs. I deal with what's going to happen on the field. Like them what ifs.
And that's Hughes. Hughes always talking about, nah, don't tell me about that. Tell me we trying to win the Super Bowl. Ain't that always your thing, Hughes? We trying to win the Super Bowl. We're not trying to win the division Super Bowl. We trying to win the Super Bowl.
The offseason Super Bowl?
So, Don, let me ask you this, Don. Do you think that if you put a rookie quarterback in the situation, in the position that Sam Howell is in, are you going to get different results?
Behind that offensive line?
Yeah, that they have right now.
Constructed right now at the end of the season. It all depends on who the person might be. Somebody who can make plays, somebody who's better in the head. Sam he might be shell shocked. I don't know. He took a lot of hits. He took a lot of hits and he stayed there. And that's phenomenal to take that many hits and sacks and still be standing up at the end of the season. That's phenomenal. But your boy is throwing a lot of interceptions. He led the league in interceptions. Peyton Manning led the league in interceptions, but he also had a lot of touchdown passes to go along with that. You can see progress throughout the season. You've seen a decline with Sam Howell throughout the season. That's why he got benched 2 games in a row and was supposed to get benched, I think, week 17. Yeah. But then Jacoby Brissett got a hamstring injury, and no, we're going to put Sam back in and let him finish.
No, so they was tanking the season, Don. They saw it with Brissett. They might mess around and win a game or 2, man.
So really?
And I think that's to his point. And let me be honest. I don't
Jacoby Brissett. If he would have started at the beginning of the season, this season would have been totally different. But they promised that man a competition when they brought him in, and we saw no competition at all. We didn't see him running with the first team doing preseason and none of that stuff. So it was all written on the wall. So he stayed cool and played it out. And what happened was with Sam Howell throwing all the interceptions and stuff looking bad throughout the games, when they pulled him and put Brissett in, they had touchdown drives right after that. You talking about he played 5 drives. He had 5 scores on his name. And that's saying it's not on you can't keep all the blame on Eric Bieniemy when you had a guy who's capable of running offense run the offense. That's on Sam Howell. That's where the blame needs to go to because he was inefficient. That's what he was.
But Don,
So I don't want to see the guy starting next year. He can be the backup, but not starting. No.
Whenever you bring in a new quarterback, though, the defense, they don't. I mean, they have film on Brissett, but you know, you're gonna get some. And Brissett is a veteran, man. He's a starter. He was very good with Cleveland last year. You're right. He should have been probably starting from day one. Although in camp, though, we saw he wasn't as efficient as Sam Howell. Me and Marlon actually went to one day at training camp, but he should have at some point way earlier became the starter. You know, but they, you know, whatever reason they didn't want to do that. Why is that? I don't know.
They want to develop a quarterback. Ron's task is just developing a quarterback, something he's never done. He didn't develop Cam Newton. Cam Newton was already developed. He won the Heisman and the national championship. Sam Howell didn't do none of that stuff. He was a 5th-round draft pick. But not speaking on 5th-round draft picks because Washington did have a 6th-round draft pick take him to the Super Bowl in Mark Rippon. So that whole 5th-round draft pick stuff got to go. But
and how many times did Mark Rippon get sacked in 91?
7.
Was it? Did it end up being 7?
Like 7 times, yeah. 7 or 8 times tops, yeah.
Because for the whole year it was 4 until Philly got to him the last game of the season with 3 sacks.
He wasn't playing the whole game against Philly in the last game of the season.
I know they got him in that game.
He didn't finish that game.
It might not have been the last game, but it was like for a long for most of the season, he had only been sacked 4 times. Marlon.
Yeah.
Sam Howell.
That's when you all were in junior high. Let that go, man. Y'all keep to talk about when you was in junior high. Stop it.
30 years ago.
Sam Howell is a rookie quarterback. I don't know definitively next year what they are going to do, but if you want to compete in that division, you are going to need to do some things with that offensive line because that is a direct reflection of a quarterback.
Now, King, let me ask you this, King. With the second pick, you go after a quarterback or do you go after the offensive line?
Okay. If I got the second pick in the draft, I got Sam Howell, I got Jacoby Brissett, I'm trading back.
And remind you the team that you have already with the Commanders, because you see, like you said, they're not far from competing.
I'm trading back.
You might not have Jacoby Brissett. He's unrestricted free agent. He only signed a 1-year contract.
First
so he might be gone.
Jacoby. Let's rewind. Because he was the highest paid backup in the league. So I'm gonna sign Jacoby Brissett.
Uh-huh.
Then I'm gonna trade back and I'm gonna draft offensive linemen. Because somebody wants that number 2 pick, and they will give you 2 first-rounders and a second-rounder for it.
Or they might give you a young offensive line that they have already for that second-round pick that barely, that's a superstar.
I mean, Chicago is going to let Fields go. You might be able to get Fields. Now, is Fields better than Sam Howell?
He probably is,
yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm trading back. To answer your question, I'm trading back.
Talk to me about Daniels,
King. Player away as a commander. You're not 1 player away. So I'm trading back to get as many picks as I can get.
King, talk to me about Daniels from LSU. Why don't you pick him?
I'm nervous about Daniels because LSU for the past 3 to 4 years have put in all-pro receivers into the league. So I don't know if these cats are running wide open and making him better than he is, or if he is making them better than they are. So I'm not quite sure, but I do like Daniels. He's a little skinny for me. You worry about him getting hit a little bit. But I do like Jaden Daniels. If I could trade back and still get Jaden Daniels, I would do that.
Remind you of RG3 a little bit?
Yep. And I know Malik Neighbors now is the leading wide receiver in LSU history. So that's what he was throwing to.
That says a lot.
So, like I said, I don't know if he was making them better or they were making him better. I do know he will get out that pocket and disappear on you. Now, I don't think he's as fast as RJ3, but he is elusive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So who's the best out of the 3, Don? Oh, I know.
Between who?
Caleb, Jake,
Drake May?
Drake May. I'm sorry.
I don't want any parts of Drake May. I don't know too much about the guy. I know he went to UNC and he was Sam Howell's backup. Um, he reminds me of what I'm thinking is Mitchell Trubisky 2.0. I don't trust NC quarterbacks. After Mitchell Trubisky, they traded up. The Bears traded up to get Mitchell Trubisky, only to sign draft Justin Fields, who is Mitch Trubisky 2.0. I don't I don't want anything to do with North Carolina quarterbacks, and I'm not sold on USC quarterbacks going back to the 90s. Like we talking about Carson Palmer was okay. He was probably the best of the USC quarterbacks coming out. But other than that, we talking about was it Matt Leinart who won the Heisman? Trash.
I didn't even think he shouldn't have won the Heisman. That was just
Yeah.
trash.
Trash. He was trash lead. They had John David Booty. You had what's the guy? They had a guy who used to play for the Raiders back in the late 90s, got drafted out of USC. And that's when I looked at their pattern and stuff like, nah, USC is good for running backs, safeties, and wide receivers and stuff. Quarterbacks, it's a program out that joint. So I'm not sold on Caleb Williams. Even though he went to Oklahoma and he was out there with Lane Kiffin. We'll see. I don't know. He might have all the talent, but all the talent come back to DC is kind of where I'm worried about that because you had your past with Dwayne Haskins coming back home to DC. You had Chase Young coming back to home DC. You had Josh Morgan coming back home to DC, but you also had Vernon Davis come back home to DC. So there's that thing. Vernon Davis did work out for Washington. The rest of the guys was a no-go. So
Can't win with him.
Yeah, can't win with him. I want winners. I want winners.
So Hughes, let me ask you this, Hughes, because I don't want you to harp on this because you always call him he overrated, man, and trash. So with Von Miller being out of the locker room in Buffalo, man, how do you preview Buffalo's chances in the playoffs dealing with how Josh Allen already has been playing this season?
This hasn't been Josh Allen's best year statistically. When he looks good, he looks elite. But when he looks bad, like he really looks bad. So I think they've been leaning on a running game. You guys probably know a lot more about the defense than I do. But Buffalo right now is a team that they're saying you don't want to play. You don't want to play. So how impactful is Von Miller? To that defense, that's the key. If he's very impactful.
Oh, Davey.
Oh boy. See, y'all there playing that piano, man.
Guys, he'll probably be back on to finish his thing. But I mean, I think what he's saying, I'm like, it's a hit or miss because I think, like we were talking about earlier, now I think Von Miller is a great influencer. Like he was a leader in that locker room, kind of like how Ray Lewis was going on into his last season in the NFL. He's a great locker room presence because you need those guys that have been in those positions that won championships, that knows what it takes to have the energy to win championships. But I also think that Buffalo will be fine without him if they change, the way that they play with him fitting in those scheme fits. I think that Buffalo will be fine, but I think that it will kind of only hurt just because you don't have that leader presence and the clutch moments that you need somebody to make a big play in order to win the game. Because like it is, it's one game, so it's like one and done. And once that one game is over, it's on to the next. There ain't no you playing another game. So I think with Von Miller being missing, and I think when you get into the later stages of those better teams that you have to play, I think that's where I think it's going to kick in of him missing that veteran presence that understands what it takes to get all the way back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Josh Allen's like the king of turnovers, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
You got to think about that.
It's been a bad year.
So then look at it because Don, you're probably more factual than me. So then if you look at the last 6 games that they played, would you say that it was Allen or would you say it was more that defense that kind of closed out those games for them to make it into the playoffs?
I paid zero attention to Buffalo. I was hoping they would fall out of the playoffs totally. That's what I was hoping for, just to shut up the fans and stuff.
Wow.
I hate hype that is unwarranted. It comes out of nowhere. So I have no idea who led the team. I know he is a main factor on that team. When he's on, he's on. I know that much. But if he's off, they're definitely beatable and it's easy because he's gonna give you chance after chance after chance, be it interceptions or fumbles. So yeah, there's that. So what happens with them? They're playing in Buffalo. I think they're playing Pittsburgh tomorrow.
Yeah, they're playing Pittsburgh and Buffalo tomorrow. Yeah,
it's like a 4:30 game or something like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be the middle game because it was supposed to be. It wasn't even supposed to be on to tomorrow, but
posted on today. But yeah, I think that's like a 4:30 game if I saw correctly.
Yeah.
So that's like, yeah. Good luck with that. That's Pittsburgh knows what it's like to play in the snow. They know what it's like to play in that type of weather. So it's gonna be a spot.
But Pittsburgh is missing T.J. Watt. That's gonna hurt.
That's the heart, like you said, like you were saying, King. Those guys are missing in the locker room. That's a whole different presence when it comes to.
He'll be in the locker room.
Buffalo, what Buffalo did was get back to the run because they wanted Josh Allen to do everything. But then, probably about a month ago, when they beat the Cowboys, they ran the ball right down their throat. I think they got back to the run, and that's how they got on the roll a little bit. Buffalo is dangerous, though. Buffalo is dangerous.
But see, like you said, King, they always get to that spot, and then it's just like that one player, that one last move is what always causes them not to go further into the playoffs. Because if you think about it, King, the last 4 years, every time we've seen Buffalo get into the AFC divisional or championship, they always have that one play or mistake that causes them from making it to the Super Bowl. Like when they beat Kansas City and then they lost to
Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati. I'm like, so it's just always them key, you know what I'm saying, them key moments. And I don't know if Josh Allen has the potential to get over that or to be able to, finally conquer that. But like I said, they looking good right now. But let's see what happens when you get to the divisional and the AFC championship, and then let's see.
But Marlon, you're also talking about Joe Burrow and Mahomes. Now, those are two of the best young quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, hands down. Y'all, I agree with you.
Lose to them. I mean, that's not you didn't lose to Sam Howell. You lost to people who have been to Pro Bowls.
Yeah. Oh, they beat the mess out of Sam Howell.
Yeah, I just saw Hughes. I said, let me get back on Sam.
We were just picking up where you had left off.
My fault. Nothing. Technical difficulties. Hey, look, man. Sam Howell is. I
throw the ball more than 30 times a day. Period. No more than.
King, let me ask you this: we are in a pass-happy NFL, right?
Yeah.
So I get it. I mean, the quarterbacks they got to be able to stand in the pocket and throw it. Especially when you don't have when you don't have much else on the team. Montgomery
I don't believe that. I believe the Commanders have good skill position players. The one weak link you may have on offense outside the offensive line is I'm not sure about your tight end. What's his name? Logan Paul?
Yeah, he's soft as jelly.
Your skill position players are NFL players.
But we're not being creative in getting them involved. Okay. Now, if you watch them play, what was that last game? Dallas?
Yeah.
The first 2 quarters, Bieniemy was drawing it up. He was finding ways to get Terry and that slot got a ball.
John Dawson?
Yeah. No, the slot.
You talking about Samuels?
Curtis Samuels?
Yeah, Curtis Samuels. He was running B-Rob. He was giving you Gibson. He was giving you a mix of everything. And then he finally decided, okay, I need to drop Sam back. I need to drop Sam back. I need to drop Sam back. I need to drop Sam. And that's when he got his 2 interceptions.
Yeah, but I think he started doing that because the score was 27-10.
No, he was doing that while it was still a close game. That's what he does. Okay. He gets tired of being productive. My father say some people can't stand success. And all of a sudden you want to start coaching. You want to start proving who you are as an offensive coordinator. Unfortunately, Sam Howell couldn't get it done for you the way you wanted to do it.
But I don't think he had anything to prove. He got
Yes,
2
he
rings. I
does.
don't think he has anything to prove.
He does.
Hughes. Wait,
Eric Bieniemy trying to be a head coach.
So Hughes, if they get the coach,
Okay.
if they get the coach and they get these pieces for the Commanders, in the next 3 to 5 years, are they a playoff team?
They could be a playoff team next year. I don't think the
I don't
Commanders.
think they're gonna be a playoff team next year, man.
I don't think they're as bad as their record says. I really don't.
You know one thing that really
What?
surprised me about the Commanders this year?
They
and I
got
was
blown
very
out.
surprised. Go ahead, Don. Go ahead.
How many times they get blown out this year? You talking about, and you don't think they're as bad as they are? They had like at least 7 games. People scored 30 points on them, man. They're bad. They've been bad all year.
That defense is horrible, but we in a terrible division. Look at Philly. All of a sudden they suck.
They lost to the Bears, dude. The Bears had lost 14 consecutive games, and they dropped 40 on the Bama's. And he only threw to like 2-3 people all game.
And that's what I was going to say, Don.
Don, we made the playoffs at 7-9.
That's because everybody else sucked, man.
But
the whole division sucked. You can't take 7-9 and hang that on top of nothing, man.
Hey,
7-9 is trash. That's not even winning, Joe.
Marlon said, can they make the playoffs? They can make the playoffs next year. Yeah, playoffs.
No, they can't. Not at 7-9.
Playoffs?
Nah.
The Cowboys ain't falling off like that.
The Cowboys they are who they are. They looking good right now, but I mean, they can make the playoffs. Philly is done. The Giants are done. You do know that the Commanders always play Philly hard. They beat Philly with Heineke. You remember that?
Listen,
that's what I knew.
I'm going to say this, then I'm going to shut up. I was really surprised that the Commanders defense looked that bad this year. I thought that was going to be something they could lean on, but that defense was
horrible.
I was surprised because last year they were like top 10. So I'm like, what happened?
3. They were number 1 again. They were like 3rd overall, and they were like number 1 on 3rd down defense. Yeah. Where did it all go?
You know what happened?
It all depends on the schedule. Who they're playing every year. What quarterbacks they playing.
Your 2 interior guys got that money. They got that bag, man. They don't want to play no more.
No, man. John Allen had plantar fasciitis at the beginning of preseason, and that's when them joints that lingered, Joe. He not going to say it, but that bothered him probably all year. It takes a long time for that to heal. And if you playing football and you pushing all the time on that, it's not going to heal. So he wasn't as effective. I'm gonna blame that on that injury in the preseason.
I will take Deron Payne every day. I would take Deron Payne on my team.
Deron Payne ain't do nothing this year.
Okay. He had a whole series against was it Denver on his own. He shut them dams down.
One game.
I take Deron Payne.
You said none. You said none.
He did nothing this year, man.
Okay.
Every time these guys get that bag, Marlon, they get a few more girlfriends, and it's a wrap.
But Hughes, it's like what we were talking about the other day. What is it? The same repeating cycle with the Commanders every year. Instead of sitting there rolling the dice and taking a chance to try to win, all they decide to do is, let's go get this one piece. And then when this one piece get hurt, we're gonna replace him with the same piece.
They gonna get a new quarterback. We're gonna get a new quarterback every 2 years.
And it's like I don't understand that, man. I've never seen a quarterback from the time I've been alive to now on the Commanders team that stayed longer than 2 years, 2 or 3 years. I haven't seen it. Maybe that's me, but I'm just like that just says a lot about their organization.
Hey Don, say that name again.
Kirk Cousins. But they didn't work Kirk Cousins. They didn't think he could be the guy, even though he threw for 4,000 yards, 3 consecutive seasons, 25 touchdowns or more in 3 consecutive seasons with no running game. His last season, he had Fat Rob. Remember that guy? Fat Rob was your running back? He had a receiver. He had Josh Doxson. Seriously,
he had
He had Garcon.
No, not his last year. The last season, he did not have Pierre Garcon, and Deshaun Jackson was gone after his second year. His second year started.
Right.
So they had
he had Jordan Reed.
Jordan Reed with his concussions and all that stuff. That was the best that you've seen of Jordan Reed with that last year. But for the most part, you're talking about Josh Doxson, the wide receiver, Joe.
So Don, how many playoff games has Kirk Cousins won in his whole career? Just answer that real quick.
Answer me this. How many times has Kirk Cousins had a top 10 defense in his career? When he was in Washington, everything was 25 or below. So he had no defense. You can't pin all those losses and stuff on Kirk Cousins when his defense wasn't stopping nobody. Ever. Not even in Minnesota. Not even in Washington. He's never had a top flight defense. You can't pin all that stuff on the quarterback. It's a team game.
They need to lock him up in Palmer Park jail, man, for grand larceny, man. How much money he done made?
Who?
About 500 million. Kirk Cousins need to be locked up, man.
Hey,
if they got money to give away, he'd be a fool not to take it.
Yep, that's what they did with Ron Rivera. He was a fool not to take that offer. You can't blame Ron for that. You can blame Ron for his futility, though.
So, King, so let me ask you this, man. Since this is your team, man, do the Cowboys redeem themselves against Green Bay today?
Marvin, I wish I could be definitive and say yes, but if they cannot stop Aaron Jones coming out of that backfield, it might end up looking like the Buffalo game.
Wow.
The Cowboys defense is not built up the middle to stop the run. The Cowboys are built on speed and agility. Because if you notice, we got one linebacker, we got two strong safeties out there starting. You got Donovan Wilson and you got Marquise Bell, the FAMU Rattlers. They just put that out there. You got those two starting at safety. You got your two corners and you got Hooker playing deep. We don't have a run-stopping linebacker that's going to fill that hole. That's why I want them to draft the boy coming out of Clemson. I said it first, Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Yep.
6', 230, middle linebacker. Need to get him in the second round. That's what they need to do. But I think we'll win the game. But you got to start off fast and make Jordan Love throw the ball.
So it's more about making them throw it than about having.
Y'all got the best defensive player in the NFL and the best offensive player.
You think Michael Parsons is the best defensive player in the league?
Yes, sir.
What about Myles Garrett, TJ
He's a
Watt?
problem.
He's a problem, but I don't know if he's the best in the league.
King, he'd be my top 5, but I don't think he'd be like number one.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not taking nothing from him. He's a bad man now. Let me be clear.
He wouldn't be
I ain't hear nothing about Myles Garrett yesterday.
Oh, he talking about yesterday, King. He talking about he ain't hear nothing about
Where was Myles Garrett last night?
Yeah, that's a good point, Hugh.
Michael Parsons always gonna show up.
Laramie Tunsil had took care of your boy last night, man.
Yeah, he did. But Tunsil is a Pro Bowler.
And they played against each other in college too.
Yeah, SEC football, baby.
Yeah,
You know what it is.
They know each other's tendencies. So yeah, there's that. That's a watch.
6-7 years, like I said,
they cancel each other out with that, so they know. So that's why. What's his name? Who's that from the Don from the Browns? JOK had a big game yesterday because he was in
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Yeah, there was just beasting. I was like number 6. I'm like every play I look at, I'm like I've seen him out there on that, but he had to step up since Miles was,
Well, look at this. That's a guy that Washington could have drafted, but they picked Jamin Davis instead.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. I don't know why they didn't go out to JOK out of Notre Dame, man. That was kind of ridiculous.
I didn't even want JOK. I wanted Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton was the guy that I wanted. I was on Team 980 talking to Travis Thomas. Yo, Nick Bolton's the guy you want right before the draft. Nick Bolton's that guy. What's Nick Bolton done? Had 180 tackles the season before. He scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl, almost 2 of them in the Super Bowl last year. That dude makes plays. Yo. That's who I wanted. But either one of those guys is better than Jamin Davis. So this is Ron Rivera again, who played linebacker, who can't draft linebackers. Like him and Jack Fail Rio. How you put 2 linebackers can't draft a linebacker? And
I mean, but see, Don, that's outside their skill set. Now you want them to do. They know how to. Okay, they know how to play linebacker. They all know how to draft them. But that's a whole nother problem.
Neither one of them could really play that well because neither one of them been to a Pro Bowl. So.
But then here's why I look at the problem too, y'all. Because I was telling Hughes this earlier. I said when you pick players, you got to be able to make sure that they fit in the scheme fit that team is playing. So if they are 3-4 or 4-3 or whatever type offense or defense they play, you got to make sure that player fits. Because just because he's a big name in college is what I was telling Hughes doesn't mean that that's a perfect guy to go after when it comes to the teams. And a lot of teams start doing that now and then it messes up the scheme
Their
fit
scheme.
they're trying to
I
play.
get that, but you're talking about drafting a guy who played outside linebacker in Kentucky to play inside linebacker in the NFL. In
That's not
Jamin
gonna
Davis.
work.
Nah,
It
Yeah, that's
don't
not gonna
work.
work. Yeah,
So that's Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio.
So was Rivera the GM? Who's the GM for
Yes,
the
Rivera was the guy picking the players.
I
He was
thought
he had
Martin.
full control. Him, Marty Herney, and Martin Mayhew, but Ron Rivera had the final say on everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey Don, when we chose Ron Rivera, I knew that was failure.
He got fired the season before. Why would you hire a guy who got fired mid-season?
I mean,
Hey,
come
that's
on,
what
Don. Everybody in the NFL has been fired.
Hey Don,
I get that, but you don't hire a guy who got fired mid-season right before, like
hey
the last
Don,
guy he played was against Washington, and they fired him that next day. And you bring that same guy in the coach? He hadn't had a winning season since 2018. He's only had 3 winning seasons in his entire 14-year coaching career. All right.
Wow.
This is not the guy. He was not the guy then. He ain't the guy now. It's obvious.
Messing with him, man.
and that's what we do. We bring him in because he's a name, a retranslate.
Who you gonna hire? Who you gonna hire, Don? Who you gonna hire?
Well, they could bring Bobby Slowick back who was the offensive coordinator with the
With
the
Houston.
Texans. Yeah, he might bring him back. They're looking at Ben Johnson. From what I heard, they say.
Look at it like this. So it's not. So who's the best fit? I wouldn't say who's the best person. I would say who's the best fit.
Bill Belichick.
No, hell no. I want no 72-year-old man coming out. It's like bringing Biden and Trump, Joe. You don't want these old men running the country no more. Stop with that, man. This dude's 72 years old.
We're going to close out with Belichick because there's something I want to ask about that, but we'll get to that later.
But as far as
Belichick.
What I'm saying is I think, like how I was telling King, you guys, I think the best fit would be Ben Johnson, but I don't know about the other guys. I haven't really seen them, so I can't really.
Look, I've heard them talk about the offensive coordinator up in Baltimore that they got out of Georgia.
Are you talking about that? What's his name? Mike
Monkey?
Monkey.
Todd Monkey?
Yeah.
I don't think I see him on the list of interviews, but I did see the one for McDonald and the other guy. Okay. I think Reeves was his last name. The guy who's defensive line coach or something like that. So if they pick a defensive defensive minded coach, and they pick an offensive coordinator, that offensive coordinator might be coached a year or two later if the offense looks good. So if you hire an offensive minded coach, that means you keep that guy. And they might poach your defense, but then again, it's all a wash.
So you guys knowing that team, like right now, who would you say, Don, is the best fit? Knowing both sides of the team, offense and defense, who's the best fit to run that?
I would think either one of the 2 guys from Baltimore I think will be best for that squad. They need a whole new voice. Ben Johnson, I don't know too much about other than him being in Detroit and being like the new guy and stuff. So,
I'm with you on that, Don. So what about you, Hughes? Who do you think would be the fit going into next year and the year after? Who is the fit for coaching for the Commanders?
I kind of like the guy from the Ravens, man. I like Ben. What's his name? Ben McDonald.
Yeah, McDonald.
Yeah, I like him. Young guy. He doing great things with the Ravens. We need a presence of defense. I'm quite sure he can bring an offensive guy in. That's who I'm going with.
King, who do you think is going to be the guy to take over in that spot in the next?
Yeah, I mean, to me, McDonald makes sense because I think you have more untapped potential on your defensive side that he may be able to make some of those guys better. And he comes with that Baltimore mentality to like, we're going to play football, we're going to hit you hard, and it's going to be a physical game. And when you leave here, you're going to know you played football.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking he's going to be that guy, how you were piggybacking the last Sunday, how we were talking about they run the ball more, because you was like, it's bad that, what's his name, didn't even get over 1,500 yards rushing as a running back. And it's just like, and you have him on the team. And it's just like, so – do you think with this Ravens coach is going to be that different? Like, no, we're running the ball this year. Like, we definitely put the.
Yeah. I think he will bring that because that's how you win. You run the ball and you play good defense. If I run the ball and you can't stop me from running, that's going to limit your offensive possessions. The clock is going to steady run, and we just go pound the ball. Look, I don't care if it's 3 yards a carry. And then when I hit you with the play action, now I got linebackers creeping up looking for the run. Damn, over the top.
So who gonna be y'all next coach when y'all lose today?
I don't know if they're gonna fire McCarthy. I don't know if they're gonna fire him or not. I don't know.
You think Sirianni gets fired if they lose?
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't fire Sirianni, even though I don't know what happened to Philly from 10-1 to 11-6. I don't know what happened to Philly.
Philly was trash all year, and they got by in the early part of the season. If you look at, they played Washington twice and was down 10 points by Washington twice, who ended up being a 4-win team.
Yeah.
This team was so bad, you went toe-to-toe with Washington twice, and you barely beat them.
Yeah, that's a shame, man.
I mean, but like you said earlier, the Commanders always play Philly tough. But the problem with Philly is the back half. I don't think the front four is that bad. But
they lost both their coordinators,
those corners and those safeties. I'm just like, man, where y'all get these people from?
So,
they lost both their coordinators, offensive and defense.
Oh, there you go.
And your boy got that bag, man.
Why is it always about the bag?
Jalen Hurts.
It's not the quarterback's fault that the defense sucked, man. You gotta stop.
Man.
You want him to go play safety too?
Yeah, they don't.
The word on the street is Jalen Hurts ain't focused no more, man. You know what happens when you?
I ain't heard that.
You know what happens when you get that? If any of y'all in here got a bag, your life would change. Y'all probably would stop. Y'all would probably change your phone number, get new wives, right? Not you, Don.
That ain't true.
No, because you know she in earshot.
I'm just playing, Mr. Wilson. But anyway,
I mean, to your point, I think that do get paid and get complacent, but I didn't see complacency out of Jalen Hurts. I think it goes back to what Don was saying. They lost both coordinators,
and the defensive backs got slow. They aged. Yeah, so there was a Pearl Harbor squad back that joint, man. They throwing bombs all year.
Yeah, big play Slay and who was that? Bradbury? That ain't scaring nobody. What's that thing you gotta say? Use ain't nobody game planning for big play Slay no more.
Nope. ain't nobody losing no sleep, man.
Got to him, man. That's messed up, man. Don't do that.
Hey, but no, seriously, King. I'm secretly mad. I want Dak to move on, man. I want Dak to win, man.
So Hughes,
I'm glad. I want to win too. Dak has had a good year.
So Hughes, looking forward. Like, so if Dallas wins, Dallas is the 3 seed in the NFC? Or
2 seed.
It's 2.
So Dallas being the 2 seed, whoever wins with the NFC wild card, with the second lowest seed plays
the second lowest seed
plays the number 2 seed.
The second lowest seed plays the number 2 seed.
Yeah, so with that Rams and Detroit game, that's the game that Dallas needs to focus on.
They need to win today, Mark. Let's rewind. They need to win today.
Yeah, they need to win that today because that Rams
either. Don't nobody want to see the Rams?
That's what I'm saying. I know Dallas is not trying to deal with the Rams and doing that because the Rams barely got by.
I just turned it off.
And the Rams to get it with the Rams were the 7th seed, I think, King, and got in at the 7th seed, I think, or the 6th seed. I'm like, says a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, because they struggled for a while until they started.
And what I noticed about Dak is great in games, but when it comes to playoffs, it's like his mind is fluttered. It's like he doesn't know what to do anymore. It's like he gets frazzled, especially
that's a Cowboy thing.
Especially when he's playing against great defense. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll see him tear it up, and then all of a sudden you're like, Dak, where did it all go? Like
playoffs.
Did your town just go through the football like Space Jam or something? Like I'm just trying to understand.
Space Jam.
Like, where did it go?
Historically, that has been the case.
Yeah, I'm like, I just don't understand.
I think it's gonna be a little different this year because what they're doing with McCarthy is 1, 2, 3, throw the ball. 1, 2, 3, throw the ball, or 1, 2, 3, move. So it ain't all that more. You trying to wait for somebody to get over. 1, 2, 3, throw that ball.
That's his 504 plan, King.
Wow. He went there with that, though. He got an IEP, though.
And CD Lamb is going to be the reason why he continues to win. CD Lamb, the best wide receiver in the NFL, man.
What?
He bad.
Yes, sir.
He ain't the
He
best
bad.
in the NFL, but I
He is
mean,
the best wide receiver in the NFL.
he ain't
He
the
bad.
best.
He bad.
Who's better?
What you mean?
What? Jefferson? What?
Justin
Did he
Jamar
play
Chase?
this year? I think he was hurt this year, though.
He was hurt most of the year, but yeah, he's still better than CD Lamb.
I mean,
Not this
AJ
year.
Brown. I
Can't be
put
better if he
AJ
don't
Brown up
play.
there too. I mean,
AJ
Debo.
Brown, yeah.
I put Debo up there, man. I mean, like, come on.
I
Debo.
don't know about Debo. Debo's not better than Brandon Ayuk on his own team
You
this
talking
year.
about Sugar in the Tank, Debo?
Sugar, I don't know where you got that from.
Oh man,
I would say Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is a dangerous man.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
He need to watch them bad kids, man, around there playing with cigarette lighters.
I ain't messing with you, Hughes. You talking about some I look at it like this. So this is how we gonna close it out, guys. Is Bill Belichick the type of coach where he needs to go to a team that's already established, or is he a type of coach where he can go to a team and create that team to be greatness, to have greatness? Because I've looked at Belichick being on the Patriots for as long as he's had. I feel like how King, the word he used earlier, was complacent. And I think him going into a new team, or if he does decide to go into a new team, or whatever he decides to do, I think Belichick needs to go to a team that is already set in order to win, because I think that's what makes him great. I think if he doesn't have that, I think that's what's going to be his downfall of the rest of his career if he decides to keep going.
Bill Belichick needs not to pick any more players. That's what he needs. He needs to focus on coaching the game and not worrying about the players he's bringing in, because that's where he failed. I mean, they've drafted nobody of any of note in the last 3 to 5 years. Seriously,
Yeah.
Tom Brady went.
I think he can go anywhere and coach and be successful. But to Don's point, he's not a good GM. He's not a good GM.
So without the GM part, King, is Bill Belichick, is he the type of coach where it's just like whoever signs, let's say if he decides to go to San Diego or whatever he goes to, is he the type of coach to turn those type of teams around?
Yes. San Diego just needs a coach. They just need a coach. They got a wide receiver. They got a
great young quarterback like how Brady was when he came in.
You got the Bosa boy. You got Derwin James. There are some pieces in San Diego. They just didn't have a coach.
Yeah, and then they got they got their tight end back, so it says a lot. So, Hughes, what do you think, man? You think Belichick is that guy, man? Is he that coach, or is he just good with that Patriots organization?
I think it's who said it. Bill is 71 years old.
72.
72 years old. He has players at 23, 22, 23, 24. He probably can't relate to those guys anymore, man. Hell, I can hardly relate to a 22 or 23-year-old at the age of 53. I mean, you do have the coaching 101, but it's a thing called being relatable, understanding your players' mentalities, what makes them tick and all that type of stuff. I mean, that's why Joe Gibbs had to leave the game to a degree. You kind of got to understand it. These are kids, man. You know what I'm saying, Don?
Yeah, I get it. But if you talking about guys out in San Diego too, the lifestyle they're living out there, and he coming from New England, oh man, that's a culture shock in itself. I'd love to see that collapse. Go to San Diego.
You know what I'm saying, King?
I mean, I do understand what you're saying, Hughes, but I also think that when you walk into a room, I don't care if you're 20 or 30, and you flash them 6 rings in my face, that's going to get some attention. Now, you might not be able to change the way they live and what they're doing, but you say, look, you want to get a ring? Call Tom Brady and ask him how to get one. Call Teddy Bruce and ask him how to get one. Call Willie Mack and ask him how to get one. Call Justin Edelman. So he's got a resume that he can stand on, but I don't know if that would alter these young cats' lifestyle. It might alter the way they play.
Let's keep it real.
Lifestyle, but come on, man. Ain't nobody got more credibility than Belichick.
Let's keep it real. Who cares about rings anymore, King?
They all getting paid.
These youngers getting paid, man. It's not like back in the 80s when they had to go get a summer job at a car dealership because they was only making 80,000 a year. And you
Hughes,
know,
I think your point is valid after they get the first one. Once they get the first one, then it's all about the money. Because I do think that they want a ring. I think that all of them want a ring.
but at what cost?
What do you mean at what cost? Oh, the workout, the sacrifice, and all that?
Yeah, at what cost?
They don't want that in Washington, that's for sure.
Huh?
They didn't want that in Washington when the enemy came in there, that's for sure. Guy with 2 rings, tell you how the things go. This is how we practice. No, he's too hard on us. Really?
Right. So I mean, it's all like I said, it's all on the individual players, Hughes. So I guess you're right. Some cats just want to get paid, man. Do their 5 years in the league and just be done with it.
Yeah. So I think Belichick might be done.
Could be.
You wouldn't want Belichick in Washington, that's for sure, right?
Nah, his time is up, man. I don't even want the guy that fired in Tennessee.
Mike Vrabel?
Yeah. I'm
I
tired
think
of
Vrabel's a
regret.
good coach. I think Vrabel's a good coach.
But he lost his coordinators too.
Yeah.
So
All right. To close it out, so who we got for today's game? Who we going with today and tomorrow for these games?
We're gonna go with Dak and CD Lamb, man.
You going with Dak and CeeDee Lamb for today?
Your man Micah Parsons is gonna be a problem for Jordan Love.
Who you going? I already know who King going with. I ain't gotta ask King Down. Who you got?
You ain't gotta ask me. Yeah, you ain't gotta ask me.
With Green, would you going with Green Bay? Or you going with Dallas?
I want Green Bay to win because I hate Dallas. And that's always going to be in me. So, yeah. But Dallas could win.
Even when looking at both of the teams and looking at who they got, man, you still got that hate to just say, hey, man, I'm going with.
I'm rooting against them. I don't care. I can't root for Dallas, yo. They probably will win, but I'm not rooting for it.
I respect that. I'm going with Green Bay only because, like I said, I think what Jordan Love has done this year with Green Bay is immaculate, and I want him to finish that Cinderella story that he has with Green Bay outside of the post Aaron Rodgers shenanigans and talk.
Head case.
I'm going with Pittsburgh tomorrow, and the reason why I'm going with Pittsburgh tomorrow.
You crazy, man.
Yeah, I'm going with Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh, every time they've been an underdog, I feel like they've always figured out a way to bounce back. And Mike Tomlin over there, he got something to prove.
Yeah, I like Mike Tomlin, but with no TJ Watt, they're not gonna win tomorrow.
Mike Tomlin's been coaching for like 17 years and never had a losing season, but he's only won playoff games in 3 of those seasons he's played. He's coached. And he's only won playoff games in 3 seasons.
Yeah, he's a little overrated, man.
I ain't going that far.
2016 last time he won a playoff game.
You going with the Eagles or you going with Tampa?
I'm gonna go with Jalen Hurts.
King, you going with Eagles or you going with Tampa?
That's a hard one, but I think I'm gonna go with the upset. I think I'm gonna go with Tampa.
For what?
You going with the Eagles or you going with Tampa?
Hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. Tampa, I think, is gonna pull this out.
Wow, that's 3 for Tampa because I'm with Tampa too. So that's 3 with Tampa. Okay, I can see that because like I said, everybody counts Tampa out.
Hold up, maybe I'm missing something. Is Baker Mayfield playing?
Don't matter.
Yes,
don't matter. If he's
yeah, that's 3 interceptions.
You do know the Eagles were the only team in NFL history to start off the season 10-1 and not win 12 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they're falling off a cliff, dude. The ship is sinking. It's about to hit the ground, Joe. They're gonna go on down like that submersible right now, Joe.
Baker giving up 3 interceptions tomorrow.
To who?
Baker Mayfield.
To who? Who's gonna catch him?
Who? Bradley? Who? What's that
Big
guy?
play, Slay.
It's Gardner Johnson. I mean, who could be out there to pick that? I mean, I'm curious.
I thought Gardner Johnson went to Detroit.
Bro, if he did, like,
Yeah, he gone.
if
He
he
ain't
did,
play
I'm
there
like,
no more.
yeah, who else they got out there? Bradbury hurt. He ain't doing much.
Slay.
Slay is
Slay
like,
when you slay. Yeah.
what they gonna put Fletcher Cox out there at corner? and have him catch the ball, man. And Jordan Davis, y'all go out there and play corner, man.
Jordan Davis will be linebacker.
Yeah, y'all go out there and play corner, man. And you caught it. You the only one that's gonna play nose tackle, man. Everybody else about to go out there and play the safety. If they do that, they might have a chance. But even with that, man, shoot, good luck.
They got to play prevent the whole game.
Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans, man, is a deadly duo right now. This season, I've seen them two lock up a lot of times this year, and I think it ain't. And I think there's no defensive right now on that Philly team that can stop Mike Evans, man, from doing what he does.
Yeah.
Like Mike Evans, and we've seen that king when he had Tom Brady as his quarterback. Like Mike Evans is a dog. If you give him,
he gonna get 1,000 yards every year. He don't care who the quarterback is.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Whatever quarterback it is, Mike Evans is gonna be that guy to do that. I think he's gonna do the same thing with he carves up defenses with that, man. Just his height and his speed alone is what makes him a problem. At
10 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
At 6'5", doing that, he was getting 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons, man. That's a lot. With a Super Bowl, I mean, you can't beat that, man.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, let me jump. Let me see what's going on with this game. Come on, like 10 minutes out, so I'll figure it out.
Nah, we good, y'all. So with that being said, y'all, we thank you guys for looking in and tuning into the show. We thank you guys for allowing our good guest host, Don, to come on and grace us with his presence and to give us opinions and ideas for the season. So
Dump truck down.
Dumb Chuck Don, my bad. Dumb Chuck Don. So we will get back to you guys next Sunday with some more great topics that are on our mind and our hearts. We're gonna go ahead and enjoy these playoff games and let you know our results next week and how we felt about the turnout of these games. So you guys enjoy this weekend, and we will get back to you next week.
Peace and love.
There's not excuses.